Well, good morning, everybody. It's Coffee with Mike, bright and early. I've got Paul Berry with Remax in San Juan County, New Mexico, for another Coffee with Mike. And we didn't have a pre-interview to talk about what normally Coffee with Mike is about. Like when I ask questions, we usually kind of talk about what's bugging the realtors, what are things that nobody's asking. We didn't have a setup on that one. Like we didn't go to coffee and talk about it before this. So I'm terrified about what you have to say, but I'm excited.
Unscripted.
Unscripted. It's unfiltered.
Are you yelling for a reason?
I like to be loud and project. Maybe I should pull back a little bit. What do you think?
You're okay.
Am I too intense for you right now?
I'm scared.
Well, you've seen a couple of these Coffee with Mikes. We've had conversations for years. We've known each other for years.
Too long.
Huh?
Too long.
Too long? Well, we've known each other for too long.
Too long, yeah.
It's true. I need to find some other friends.
You need more friends.
We need more people to like us. Yeah. So my question for you, in the real estate world, in the real estate industry, what is not being asked? What things are not being approached, fixed? What's bugging you in this industry?
That's actually a really good question.
Thank you.
I think that the biggest thing for me, do you record these and then put them on later?
Yeah, they record. I have a stack of them, so I can go back and cut out clips for us if we get some good bullet points.
Okay.
But the lives help us, be real and authentic with people. So
this is what you have in a pre-meeting, but
yeah.
So I think one of the things that I see in the real estate world is realtors think they're experts in all things.
Okay.
And we're not. We have general knowledge of how processes go. And the more experienced you get, you could become a quasi-expert in something. But when we go through a certain process and people have questions about inspections, septic, how permanent foundations are done, those types of things,
okay,
we have we're scratching the surface on the knowledge of how to do that.
Right.
But we think that we can go and advise the general public on how to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
When we should be going to the professionals and getting the actual data that is necessary. Because there's no cookie cutter way to do anything. All situations are different.
Okay.
All clients are different. All houses are different. All loans are different. There's nothing cookie cutter about this industry. But realtors, for some reason, decide that they're the experts.
Okay. So why do they fall into that, or why do they project that as who they are? They're experts in those fields, like you said, septic inspections or foundation inspections or lending. Why do they fall into that, I guess, personality or that character?
Well, I think they're trying to justify the job.
Okay.
So what we are brokers, and this, I mean, all of this might be controversial, but what we are brokers, we're supposed to get the best information, timely, get people to the experts. That's our job.
Okay.
But when somebody will say, well, you don't know that, why am I paying you? Then everybody gets a little bit defensive, and then they try to just use their experience or, what they've done in past deals to say this is what's going to happen.
Okay. So it may be one of those that your customer comes to you for that experience. They're looking for your advice on what direction to go. And as an experienced realtor, you have familiarity to it. You have experience. You've seen some of these situations in the past, and there's a line that gets crossed. Either it's like, well, I've seen this happen before. Let's take it over to the expert, is what you should be doing. Mm-hmm. But what you're seeing is a lot of realtors stating this is what it's going to be. This is how things are going to be in this transaction. And then the experts come in and sometimes screw things up or refute it or...
Yes, I have a very intelligent client. Mm-hmm. We're the same age. We have similar backgrounds. He was in oil and gas.
Okay.
He's been in oil and gas for 20-something years.
Sure.
He did a whole bunch of research on what he thought he wanted to do, how he wanted the process to go. He has a house that he's trying to keep as a rental while buying another house. Yeah. And he thought he went through ChatGPT and got all the correct info.
Right.
I sent him over to a lender. Not you, I'm sorry.
I know. It's all right.
We've already talked about this.
That's why I have you on coffee, see if I can get some more deals out of you. That's what it is.
Well, actually, every time we send people we close everything that we.
It's true. We get them
work
done because
together,
we
yeah.
know we have experience.
We have experience. But this guy talked to him because it was a very involved one.
Right.
Not your typical customers. That's why I went another way.
Sure.
And he called me up afterward. He goes, I thought I knew what was going on. I thought I'd done all the research. I thought I had the right information. And then come to find out I was way off.
Okay. I mean, and
I was telling him too, I go, I like what you've done, the amount of research you've done. That's great. You should go into these processes having done a little bit of research. So when somebody's blowing smoke, you can say, I don't think that's right.
Right. It doesn't sound right in the research that I've done. Or like when they go to the realtors as experts, you guys are like, well, I'm familiar, but I'm not the expert on the situation. So then they bring back the data, and you're like, that's funny.
That's the thing. We don't do that disclaimer a lot.
Which disclaimer?
Realtors. I have experience in this, but I'm not the expert.
Okay.
That's what a lot of realtors, and especially ones without experience that haven't been bit by this, will go in and start speaking to somebody like they are the expert. And they don't give that disclaimer. Say, we have in our broker duties that we have all of our clients sign, say, I'm not the expert in all things.
Right.
If we need one, we're going to go find one for you. I say that first.
Right.
Because I've been bit and I'm not the expert in all things.
Right.
I've even been I was a licensed lender with you for a little bit. I'm a licensed home inspector, licensed realtor.
Right.
So I have a lot of knowledge.
Right.
I still won't say I'm the expert in anything.
Right. You've just added to your toolkit for basically those indicators that something might not be right. You hear something from a borrower or from a seller where they say something, you're like, that may not be the way we need to go. But because you're acting as just the real estate broker, you go get the expert advice to solidify and verify it. So I know on a previous live that I did, we were talking about a borrower or even a seller researching and looking into things. And that's what triggered you to say, hang on a sec, these buyers can go research, like you said, go to ChatGPT, get some basic information, and then it completely gets flipped over.
Well, ChatGPT gives you one answer.
Okay.
And then it says, well, if you don't like that, I can give you a different one.
Okay.
But we know as, you as a lender, me as a lender, and have done in this for a long time,
right?
You have a completely different set of overlays,
right?
Loan packages that you could give a borrower than the next lender. So you get all your answers, you go and shop around. None of them may be able to do what ChatGPT just said.
Right.
So, and it's very dependent on the borrower as well. So to do all that kind of research, as soon as you get with the pro, they're going to throw it all out.
That's an intimidating thought as a buyer or even as a seller. You go do all this, you're expecting to do all this research, but then you're coming in saying it could be completely wrong. Is there a level of research or is there a resource they should be going to get that kind of data? How can a buyer or a seller prepare to get into the market?
The first thing to do is talk to a professional.
Okay.
Like you could do the basics, make sure you have low debt and high income. Those are kind of your best case scenarios.
Right.
If you have a lot of debt and a low credit score, work on that.
Okay.
Everybody's going to tell you those things. That's a basic stuff.
Okay.
But as soon as you get to a pro, you're talking about, well, I have to have 20% down for a house. You could have 3.5. You could have 3. You could have 0.
Right.
You could have 5. There's a whole host of different programs out there that you may not necessarily understand just by doing a little bit of Googling or ChatGPT. So talking to the professionals first. And the first step, and all realtors should be saying this, finances, money buys a house.
Right.
We can find a house. That's my job.
Yeah.
Find a house. But money buys the house. Talk to the money first.
Okay, I was about to ask, which professional do they need to go to? Should they be going to first?
Go to Mike Colomb.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And Mortgage Solutions.
Well, and that's the big thing we've pushed for years is get pre-approved first. If you get pre-approved first, you know the number limitation, which then brings it to that second tier of research. I've got one of my favorite questions from veterans is they want to buy a multi-unit property. Mm-hmm. They live in one unit, and then the rest of the units help pay for that
4, 3, 2, 1.
Say
perfect.
4, 3, 2, 1. What?
That's that program. You buy a fourplex. You live in one for 2 years.
Okay.
then you buy the next one off the equity
Right.
on that one. I mean, it's a great
Great
way to do it.
It works until it doesn't, right? Because there's some situations, and we're worried about this right now with the file, where the borrower thinks that this 2-unit property is going to work, but it's not actually 2 units. It's a house with a tiny home on it,
Nope.
right? It's
an ADU.
Yeah, and therefore it's not a 2-unit.
That's non-financeable.
And that's the sticky part, is you do these research things and you get a great idea and the pre-qualification sounds great, and then you get to the property and the property doesn't qualify.
Well, and that's one of the big things we're fighting on the realtor side in the legislature in Santa Fe, because they want to make every property have the ability to put an ADU on it.
Okay.
And zoning laws, ADU is an accessory dwelling unit.
Right, like a mother-in-law's quarters is what's commonly called.
Can't say that anymore though. Anyway, but they want to do that. But one of the big things, having been a part of the lending world, is those are very, very hard to finance. So if everybody starts going, well, we're going to age in place, and when we're too old to live in this house anymore, the kids move in here, we go to the shed in the backyard. Right. Then all of a sudden you put utilities and everything on that shed.
Yeah.
And now, like you just said,
right,
almost impossible to finance.
We have the owner has a livable property, but the financing looks at it as this is ineligible as a residence.
Yeah, it's non-QM.
Right.
You're getting into very hard lending. Then your buyer pool just goes.
Right. And so if your plan is as an owner to sell it in the future, you're actually limiting your ability to sell it, to cast out such a broad net, such a wide net to people.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost putting it on the investor market.
Right.
That's what you'd have to do. That's why we fight it pretty hard. The intent is good, but the unintended consequences are far outweigh any benefit we're going to get.
Right.
Because then there's utilities. There's we're putting density in a already dense.
Sure.
Residential area.
We have space in New Mexico. We have plenty of land in New Mexico, so we could be putting properties, but instead people are just putting their shed on there to live in as a small space. Interesting. Okay. Any other thoughts? Anything come up from that you're bugged by or is not being asked?
How long is this live?
I usually go about 30 minutes, just to give people a chance to check in.
What else bugs me?
Yeah. What else bugs you? What is not being done?
So here's one big thing. It doesn't have to do with lending, but one of the things that people or realtors are shying away from is manufactured housing.
Okay.
I think the 50% of New Mexico is manufactured homes.
Okay.
And one of the big things is people do not know the process for purging or creating a permanent foundation, purging titles, creating one tax roll.
Right.
That whole process. I get calls all the time, even before I became an inspector too. How do I do this? What's the next step? Where do I go?
Right. And that's the thing. I got into this industry 17 years ago, and even back then, manufactured houses were shied away from. People were they didn't want to do it. They were too hard to do. And because I was new, I was like, I'll do whatever. And so I did it, and I learned that process. And, selling a purged, deactivated title or property over to another person is pretty simple. But like you said, when you need to deactivate, when you haven't quite made it real estate, that does become a little bit sticky. Luckily, I think the state and our county actually have worked really hard to make it a little bit easier. So it does make sense. What I get a call from constantly is, hey, I want to buy some land and put a home on it.
Yeah.
Those are just tough to do.
The land home package.
And they're tough to get accomplished.
You might as well buy a junk place and do a 203K or
exactly. It's
the assumption loan.
That's the thing. People think the cost is much less because they're going to get the land for cheaper price in their mind. Then they're going to get the sticker price of the manufactured home. What they don't realize is we have to put a foundation under it.
Utilities.
You have to get utilities connected. You have to ship it.
Driveways, all of that stuff.
And it's not as inexpensive as people think.
Now you can do, manufactured home. I think right now you could go and buy a 3-bed, 2-bath for $85.
Sure.
Buy land for $25.
Right.
You're at $110. He's not the math guy.
I do mortgages, not math. So
So you're at 110. Then the foundation, utilities, everything is another 40 grand.
Mhm.
You're at, a lot of money.
which is attractive compared to what might be out there on the market for a lot of
'cause
first time home buyers.
right now, a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,300.
But the process to get there is a problem.
Yeah.
Most of the time, sellers want all their money up front.
Well, they want
Sellers of the land, right?
sellers of the land.
So you're having up front that 35 grand.
Yeah.
Then you've got to generally up front the 20% to the manufactured home dealer for the trailer as well.
Well, that's the thing. We have all these great programs, but this is what I've been saying. We talk about affordable housing all the time.
Right.
To get into most of these great programs
Mhm.
costs a ton of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if we could get the upfront cost down,
Mhm.
then I think this affordable housing crisis could be
be a little bit easier
lessened.
to get over. Yeah.
Not eliminated, but lessened.
Right. The price of things out in the standard market is huge. And San Juan County's, slowly come up to the rest of the country from what I've seen, but the rest of the country is just astronomically expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So the cost to get in is definitely a burden. And then, okay, can we find some affordable housing in a less expensive price that's attractive? But the manufactured housing market, if they're established, they're great. But trying to build a new one in there it's still a burden. But that does bring to, as far as the upfront cost of things, down payment assistance programs.
Mm-hmm.
We in New Mexico do have a big one, New Mexico Mortgage Finance Authority, MFA, we call it for short. What are your thoughts on down payment assistance programs, New Mexico, as well as any others that you may interact with?
One of the problems, I think it's a great, if you can qualify for it, I think it's a great program. One of the problems we have that is not unlimited funds. So the funds we appropriate them every budget session.
Okay.
And then by the end of the year, they could be out of funds.
Yeah.
Which is, no, I don't think it's a good service to the rest of, to the entire population.
Right.
It's only those who are ready at the beginning of the year,
right,
when it's appropriated. So I think, if we could have what is it called? If that could be a recurring funding,
mm-hmm.
and it's not funded and then brought to zero and then funded again and brought to zero,
right,
but they maintain a level in there, I think that would be a good, that's a good thing the legislature could do to ensure that there are funds year round.
Okay. Perfect. Excellent. Any other thoughts, things, concerns that come up?
I think there's a difference between reality and ideals in this business.
Okay.
You have when you first get in, you have the ideal, and I was listening to one of your other guests on this. You have that I'm here to help people.
Sure.
I'm here to give people the American dream and
okay.
the promise of home ownership and be able to start your nest egg and
right.
blah blah blah. All great. That's all why we do this stuff.
Yeah.
But I think to be a good, successful lender,
mm-hmm.
realtor, anything that has longevity in this business, you've got to figure out the hows.
Okay.
We have our whys,
right?
But the hows are what's going to keep you in it for the long run.
What do you mean the hows?
The how things work.
Okay.
Like when you start with a client, you have the why you want to do this. They need to move into a place. They're a growing family. Somebody just died. Mm-hmm. Moving for work. Those types of things. Those are all the whys you get things done. You're looking for getting people into their home, and the joy that comes in that process.
Right.
But the process is how you sustain your living.
Okay.
Knowing what you're doing, because if you never get really good at the how, then
then your why is just
you're an idealist that's not making a living anymore.
Okay, so becoming proficient in the hows is your suggestion, is your advice.
100%. I think keeping up on education, learning what I think that's what I've done, and going out and getting different licensing, knowing certain things, not being an expert in anything, but knowing a lot about a lot.
Yeah.
I've started to become the guy people call for advice or what's next, or I'm in this bind, how do I get out?
Right. And then
I need to figure out a way to monetize that.
Another brokerage, you're an information broker. That's what you are. You're like, well, if you want me to connect you to this guy,
mm-hmm.
it's going to be $20.
Well, and two, the other thing that people have to remember is we're all in this together. Like, I'm a realtor, you're a lender, we're coworkers.
Right.
The inspectors, the appraisers, the appraisers, sorry. If any appraisers are listening, I did not mean that.
That's great. It's funny. I did this yesterday, and we had the exact same question. We're like, "What about appraisers?" Nah.
Yeah. But we just had one pass. Do you hear about that?
No.
Kim Garcia.
No, I didn't.
Oh no, Amanda Garcia.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
She was around for a while too. Gosh.
So everybody that's a part of this industry, part of the contract, we're all co-workers to get this job done for these clients.
Right.
Because we all have the same goal in mind, that is for that seller to move out and that buyer to move in.
Right.
And then we all get paid.
Right.
But a lot of times we just put each other at odds, and it's not healthy. Like when realtors are on opposite sides of something.
Yeah.
You are now linked
Right.
to this deal. So you better start getting along. Even if you don't like the person, you've got to figure out a way to get along.
You know,
And I had a QB one time that said, if you ever want to get paid, you take control of the deal and make sure stuff gets done.
okay.
But I think, and I agree with that to an extent, but I also say you also need to be helping that other side so that the next person that gets them has a better experience than you're getting.
Right. I've always operated in the idea, especially locally, I am going to work with these realtors again. I'm going to work with these different parties again. So I need to make sure that this transaction makes it to where the next transaction's going to be easy to deal with. I don't want them wanting to avoid me or have any of those issues. That's a good point, though, thinking about how to help them with their next customer. So that way that experience goes well for them again. And then when they come back and you guys interact, it's, expected to be better. That's a great perspective. I like it.
You know what? You want another piece of advice?
I do.
It's coffee with Mike. We don't have a coffee table.
It's true.
Our coffee's on the floor.
We're broad guys. Like if we had
This
a
is-
table here, we have to lean in. It's nuts. I have our coffee. We don't need a coffee.
You had a nice table with Tiana. I don't know what's going on. For me,
My chair. It's my chairs.
heck with me.
We have bigger. I have a smaller butt. I don't know about your hips. You're kind of wide there.
Easy, bro.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining in, guys. Did you have any final thoughts you wanted to share? Anything that you wanted to pitch out there to
Is
anybody?
that a half hour?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, we're right
We
at
just
half
started.
hour. No, it felt like it, but when you start rolling and you have things to talk about, I could try to go to the comments. I haven't gone to the comments
Just go to
live.
comments.
Let's go to the comments and see.
And then
Where
be
are
sad
they?
when there's none.
I do get a little. No, AI just keeps talking. Nothing yet. Oh, I do have a message. What does that one say? Oh, we got somebody who wants to get more followers through us. So no comments in here, but no worries. But that'll work for me, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next Coffee with Mike. We appreciate you being here.